Everybody, this is Bulldozer Investing. Today is April 23rd, 2021. It is 4:19 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have a long list, so I'm going to go ahead and start quickly. But before I do that, let me just remind everybody that we do have a Twitter channel where I go ahead and actually post these tweets weekly for taking requests. So you can go ahead and reply. And I don't really skip anything. So as long as you included your ticker request before 4 p.m., that would be included in the video for that day. And I do it every Friday. And I also put helpful charts out there. Again, we have no membership. I'm not asking for any money. Just posting, helping the community, and I'm not planning on doing any type of business off of this. Also, we have our YouTube channel. What I would prefer people to do is watch our videos from YouTube channel instead. Reason why is because first of all, it's easier on the eye to see from the monitor on the computer. But also, if you go to the YouTube channel itself, I do have a description under the video description. I do have timestamps. Don't know why this didn't come out, but you'd basically click on them and it'll help you fast forward and jump to that section. So it helps a lot instead of watching the whole video, which I would recommend. But if you don't, you can go ahead and click on the interesting tickers, the tickers that you're interested in. All right, having said that, we can move on to our analysis. We're going to go ahead and start with VIX. VIX here, as I was expecting the blue line to be the support, and we've explained it in videos in previous videos, previous recordings. Reason why is because on the long-term trend, if we look at the let's say 3-year daily, as you can see, this blue line has been a pretty good solid support for VIX, and I think that we're going to probably come down there. Now, a lot of people were excited, at least the bears that I've seen in YouTube or on Twitter. You'll have one of these people that are always bearish and always, complaining about the market and it's going to crash and so forth. I wouldn't pay attention to those people, but anyhow, we saw this rounding bottom and it broke above the 9 and 20. But however, as you can see, this previous expected support line, which was the 161.8 retracement or extension, I'm sorry, for the 1793, is going to be a resistance for VIX. But surprisingly, though, I think VIX is holding up pretty well here. I thought that it was going to come down more towards the 16s today and from yesterday and today, but it just held pretty much in this price range. If we look at the hourly on VIX, for the shorter term frame, we do see a nice round establishment here. I do think there's a huge resistance at $20. That would be the area in case if the market does go down a little. If VIX does hit 20, even the 1886 levels, these levels right here, 19, the low 19s, high 18s, I would probably go bullish in that case if if VIX jumps there. But in the longer term, if we look at the weekly on VIX, I don't see anything bullish about it, or bullish for VIX and bearish for the market. This is the weekly chart. It is kind of the bottom here, and most of it, if market again goes to a mini correction, I would expect VIX to go up towards 26 range. That's all it is. I would be bearish on the overall market if VIX establishes a ground on 26. You see this cloud here, like you see the cloud right here, this cloud line is going to be a huge resistance for VIX. If it does manage to get inside the cloud, then I would probably become bearish on the market. For now, it is a falling wedge. It could be an indicator that, okay, VIX can go towards 25, 26 range on the longer. We're looking at the weekly chart. Remember that. But again, I'm longer term bullish on the market. I think it would be a short spike on the VIX, and VIX is probably going to floor towards the $15 range, just like here, just like here. Okay. So that's all with VIX. Next up is SPY. So let's take a look at SPY. This is the daily, right? Let's go ahead and fix our mouse. Let's fix the chart. Going up here. Again, I'm kind of distorting the chart so that it's we're looking at a closer up. It did come towards where we expected. Remember, The 16th was last Friday. What did I did say that the yellow box would be a buying opportunity. And worst case scenario, we'd probably hit 410s. And these fibs, and I'm not perfect, guys. It's not me knowing the market. I'm just drawing the fib study, the fib extension studies here. And it's mathematical. I have nothing to do with the market. I don't know what's going to happen in the market. It's just a prediction off of mathematics here and statistical chart patterns. That's all it is. I'm not a guru, and I don't believe anybody being a guru in the market. If anybody claims to know the market, ask them how come they're not a billionaire. Because if you do, then you should definitely become a billionaire. So in that, having said that, very strong bounce off of the 410.61 to the cent here. Exact, these are machines trading, machines picking up and driving the market. I honestly did not open SPY chart this week at all. I didn't even care. Again, I'm longer term on the market. I'm expecting a huge bull run in summer, especially for NASDAQ. So, I'm just building position. I don't care what SPY looks like. I'm just building position on my portfolio here. But a huge bounce here, a break above the 9-day moving average, well above the 20 as well. The close couldn't happen. Close couldn't finish all-time highs. It did come down. I think people were probably looking at this high right here, and this looks like a flag. Let's just zoom out and see what's going on with the chart. Let's do an auto zoom actually at this point. I know I have too many lines. I know I have way too many lines. I can delete this. I can delete this. Let's delete some because these were bearish estimates, right? We're on the bullish side now. We're done with the you know guessing the market correction, which we were all of this we were spot on. I did say the cloud top bounces. I was pretty surprised that it drilled down the cloud. I was pretty scared. I thought it would go down to 367. There's a good pickup. Triple bounce off of the cloud top, a flag and a beautiful bounce. I think the market is heading towards 427. That's all it is. Okay. So SPY 427 would be my target. Next up is QQQ. Let's take a look at NASDAQ and let's see how our estimates have been and what we have been doing. Again, what last week I said I'm bullish on the market, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do a flag. And I gave you guys the lines here and perfect. And this isn't as perfect as SPY, but it gives you an idea. Even for the last 4 trading days, that 335.66 is a huge support, as we probably had mentioned. The most bearish scenario would be the 332 on the weekly, of course, we're talking about. And the 9-day closing above the 9-day was pretty good. I like that. I think this action is going to drive the market higher towards 352, the NASDAQ, not the whole market, but NASDAQ at 352. Yeah, so these levels here, 352, 351, around there seems realistic to me. And that's what all the fibs are basically lining up towards. Yep. So that's what it is. 352 is my target here, and I think we should reach it by end of May. That's my time frame. Again, this is not an indication of people going and buying, options because I've said the date and the price. It's my own opinion. This is for educational purposes. I'm just trying to show you how I come up with these numbers and how I look at the market. Look at this, and I keep saying this, and you can see this in Apple chart that we're gonna we will review today. But I just want to show you something here. A beautiful formation that I religiously follow this. Let's go ahead and change this color to yellow. As you can see, this W here, and I love when the second leg is higher. There you go, and you have a flag. A breakout above this. As you can see, it wasn't successful today, and I didn't expect it to be successful. And all next week we can touch this 20-day. As long as this flag is playing, that's all fine. We can even come down here, but a breakout is going to be humongous. And I believe the breakout is going to touch here, come back, and then eventually we'll visit the larger 161, which is 364, by the way. So this is this level is 352s, and this would be the 364. I think we're heading there. And as you can see, the previous high is just going to be a big resistance here. That's all it is. That's all. And the support would come right here. Okay. The support is going to be nearly the 20 day moving average. That's all it is to it. I hope I did a good job explaining it by drawing it. Unfortunately, I don't have this pen option on the chart here, so I'd have to like take a screenshot and do it, which is annoying, but just to give you guys a clue what's in my mind and what I'm expecting and why I have these lines, it just helps a little. Next up is Dow. Let's take a look at Dow Jones. All right, so again, nothing but flagging here in the ETFs here, and but I did tell you guys that I think the 340 and 343 would be a possible short-term top for Dow. It is bullish, by the way, but I think that there's going to be a rotation towards Nasdaq. And I'm waiting for that for this summer. Now you were looking at here, this could be a possible flag for Dow, and if it does, for Dow, end of year 361 is doable for me, and that's my goal, that's my target for Dow. But for now, let's wait this wedge here, or you could say pennant. Either way is fine. Flag is fine. Whatever you want to call it, that's fine. I'm not stuck up on the terminologies here, right? Never been a guy that, I hate I hate those snobs that, correct you every 2 seconds on every single word you say. So just, give us a break. We're not an English major professor at Harvard, right? So there you go. You'd have this long-term support channel here. The top could be 334s. The 20-day moving average 336 could be a short-term support. The longer term on the monthly side of things, like for the next month, the support would be 334s. And if this flag works out, your 343 is going to be resistance. And of course, the longer term target would be 361. Next up is Russell, and I told you guys that I was a little bearish on Russell, and I was expecting it to be stuck around here. But then Russell is forming out now. I think we're able to read Russell a little bit more clear than we were a couple weeks ago, and I'll tell you the reason why I wasn't so bullish on Russell a couple weeks ago. The reason why is because we were topping out on this pennant, so I didn't know if we were gonna sink down, right? Which we kind of did. It looked like a false breakout, and then we came back to get a support. Um, Clear resistance on the 61.8, which is 224 level. It looks like every time it breaks above 224.52, let's say 225, it comes back down. So let's see how this plays out. This time it closed above it, which is really good on a green candle. If this works out, guys, let's just draw a simple extension here. But before I do, let me fix the chart. Let's draw a simple extension. And I'm doing this for you guys so that you can see how I'm coming up with it. And I might not be perfect because remember this, right? I'm going to review 29 tickers today. If I spend about 2 minutes on each ticker, that would be just say, just round it to 30, that would be 60 minutes. So I can't really go over in depth and detail of every single ticker, given the fact that I might spend 2 hours on it, right? Without stopping anything. Okay, so this is a perfect one I just drew, right? We are seeing that from the previous bottom of 325, the March 25th, to somewhere here. Again, it cannot be. I'm just doing it roughly here, rough sketch. 420. So between around a month, let's say 3.5 weeks. And where did we stop? Today's high was 226, so this is perfect. And you don't even have to draw this extension because as you can see, this previous 46, basically April 6th high was the top of today's high as well, which got kind of, but it didn't close that much down, just dropped a couple cents here and there. I believe that if this breaks out, okay, so we have something like this forming right now. I like that it's going towards, higher low, and the next bottom would probably be this cloud line right here, which is 219, but let's see how this plays out. It could be forming a diamond in the long run, but again, that's why I was confused. Let me show you the zoom out here, and I'm going to draw two pictures for you guys. I'm going to take a screenshot and draw two pictures. So the first picture I want to show you guys is this one. Whenever you have something like this, it's a diamond formation, so it can even go up as high as this and then break down. I'm not really 100% bullish on it yet. Again, it could even crash down to here and go like this for several weeks and go like, we've seen many small sector stocks on the Russell side go up huge this week. Not sure what the cause was or what the news was. And the second chart that I'm going to draw is, let me go ahead and zoom this in a little bit. 1 second. So looking at the shorter frame, okay? Let's take a picture here. And the diamond is more clear here as well, but here you get the first leg, the second leg. There's a resistance line here. Worst thing worse, it could come up here, which is basically the cloud line support here, and it's gonna struggle till the end. Now it could go two ways. So I'm not bullish until we clearly establish a support on this 61.8 rather than a resistance. So until then, I'm going to be neutral. I'm going to still be neutral. And it doesn't still reflect my stocks again. Russell from this high when it dropped this low, my stock is still not at this level yet. So, your stocks could be even, it all depends. I don't think the ETFs really are reflecting the sector at this point, but are being basically manipulated and controlled by some power. I don't know if it's government. I don't know if it's institutional. I believe that the institutions are basically fighting off each other as well. So that's another thing. They're going after each other. Anyhow, those are all conspiracies and my thoughts only. But Russell, you see the reason why we have a huge diamond, and then the 61.8 right here is going to act as a huge resistance. So we'll see until then, until this resistance is broken above and it becomes a support. I'm still not bullish yet on Russell. All right, next up is Apple here. Let's take a look at Apple. As mentioned on the last recording, I said expect Apple to hit 131 to 130s. You can go back and watch the Apple review from last week. I am bullish on Apple, and this is a bullish formation again. You have the W and the flag. I think it's looking for a rip above on the earnings. Okay. The strong resistance would be 136. If earnings kind of, goes through that, you're looking at 144. That would be my goal. And this looks like a very nice cup and handle as well. Again, last week, we closed on what was 416 right here. We closed nearly 135, but I did say that expect 131s, and we hit 131.28 as the lowest. I said worst case scenario 139, like right above this cloud. My point still stands. I think it could still try to retest 132 again until the earning. I think it's gonna, go up on the earning. Now again, just to have you guys recognize some patterns here, I'm gonna go ahead and draw what I see bullish on Apple. Okay. So this is the dragon head, leg. Okay, leg. Okay, there you go. You can call it a bullish dragon. Some people call it W flag. Doesn't matter what you call it. Again, I'm not stuck on the terminology here as long as you recognize the pattern, right? As long as you recognize this W and the flag, you should be good to go. Terminology doesn't matter as long as you make the money. Now here is where the earnings are at. This is what I think and I hope it happens. It goes down, gets a retest at 131s, 132s, and on the earnings day, it's going to go up and hit this 136 something. I can't tell what it was. Let me see. 136.86. If it's a super blowout earning and they're like, we're buying back like $100 billion, I don't know, whatever, like they have so much cash, right? They're buying back their stocks and increasing their dividends. Some news was out there. They could very well hit 144 within that week. Okay. However, I like the fact that the cloud is turning green here on the Ichimoku cloud and it broke above the cloud. Usually when you break above the cloud, you get a retest on top of the cloud or a little bit down and then go. So I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to get a little bit of a retest and then go up. Okay, but this right here is a bullish chart. Okay. All right, so having said that, let's go to ARK. So ARK is looking good, honestly. And this kind of confirms my definition of all the small caps, not the small caps, but so much of the tech side of having a super bullish run in the summer. Again, I'm gonna draw two things. Let's draw an now. Let's delete this bearish extension and let's go ahead and draw a bullish extension. Now I'm gonna do two extensions. This is the longer term extension. Okay. Notice how it meets up exactly where the cloud is. And then I'm going to draw the shorter term extension. Okay. On the longer term side, it's going to hit 220. Okay. On the shorter term side, I think we're going for maybe by May. I think it's going to test. You notice this 100% is right dead on this cloud top. I think 132 is going to be where your resistance is. Okay. Now everybody's gonna say, well, can't you see that the 50 is just, broke down 100? Yeah, that 100 is, so I'm gonna have a couple of resistance, which I'm gonna tell you. The first one that ARK is trying to break above is the 61.8 extension, which is 123.8. Okay, let's take a good screenshot off of here. Now, again, I like the double bottom. I like how it picked up. And as you can see, again, we have a rounding bottom overall, and which is gonna lead to a big, cup and handle here. But just don't mind this, crappy drawing. But you get the idea, basically. How come I can't delete these? Okay, there you go. All right. So going back to the drawing, there's a clear resistance right here. Okay. And it needs to break above 123.8. The second resistance is going to be basically where the cloud tops or the cloud bottoms are, and I believe it's the 100-day moving average is going to meet up where the cloud bottom is, and that's where it's going to be your next resistance, which looks like 128 around there. So it could very well go something like this, and that's where your second resistance is going to be, 132.94. So 133 is where the biggest resistance is going to be. I think it could match this candle as well right here. Yep, that's where it is. Okay. If once that's taken out, just like Apple, just what I showed Apple, right? You could have two scenarios. Okay. What Apple did is it just had a super bullish run, got stuck here. Okay, this gap right here. Basically, that's what the gap fill is, the 50%, 141, and it's going through a flag. So in the long run, it would be kind of like a complicated W with a flag. That's what I'm seeing with ARK. That my eventual target would be 141. Give it some rest. Now, don't mind the time frame. I'm just drawing it, but I'm not really drawing it for the time frames. It's gonna have a flag, and this would be my first selling point, and this would be my buying point, and then it's gonna have a good run. Maybe a flag here again at the previous top high right here, and then go up its way to 220 is my long-term target. Okay. Next up is BlackBerry. Now, BlackBerry chart, I reviewed it. I was so positive on here because of this rounding bottom, and it looked like it was peaking out to go, but it was a false breakout and it went down. Kind of surprised me here, but I think it has a big potential. Looking at the MACD stochastics is ready. RSI is not picking up yet, but we're going to have to fix this chart. It does not look like, I mean, we can go something like this. Okay. It needs to break above 930. You would have to buy this for the longer term. The reason why is because it has a strong big red cloud, okay? And your resistance is clearly right here at 1083. And then you have the $10 range as resistance where the moving averages meet up. Um, Not really an expert on the short-term side of things, but in the long term, as you can see, this went out and it was still above the cloud. That's the trick here. Anything above the cloud, it's good, but anything below the cloud, it could last for months. Now, I'll tell you where you see a strong support, and it could be a resistance. These cloud right here. Yeah. These candle tops right here is going to be where your support is. Now gain that support, right? Your next resistance line is going to be right here. This candle bottom and this candle top. So I'm going to zoom in for the shorter term and just have you guys see where the price action is going to be. And this is not a stock where, and it was for, that time of frame, but usually as you can see, the width of the candles or the height of the candles are pretty short. So the price action, it'll be like, small price action for a couple weeks, and then it'll have a large green candle and then just go for that. You get what I'm saying. Like you look at here, the candle sizes are pretty small, and here sometimes it's invisible. So it's gonna do its thing, and it's gonna just try to ride it and go slowly. But where your big resistance levels are, which I'm gonna go ahead and draw and show you, and I'll give you a big price target afterwards. But just I'm looking at the shorter time frame. This is definitely these are the zones that you want to watch, right? Which did work perfectly fine. And then you have this candle bottom, tops, right? That's going to be your resistance. Okay. That's the price. Let's look at the price for that. It is 958. So let's just round it to 950 or 960, whatever you want to call it. You have the action here. So as long as you get here, that's the $10 range. Okay. These two levels, the 960 and 10 is going to be your resistance. Your support is going to be this week's lows. The second support is going to be right here, basically the bottom of this channel, which I don't think it's going to go that low. I think it has more probability of going and breaking out the channel, getting some resistance, and I don't know how this cloud bottom action is going to work. On the longer time, on the longer term, let's map and see if this is going to work. I mean, the chart is so distorted because of that, ridiculous run up with AMC and GameStop. You could do it two ways, but I'm going to go with this way. If I were to hold on to this for a longer term, I would say $20. And or where the cloud top is at, where 1857. So that range is pretty good. Would it wait for some news? Again, don't look for a fast run up, because how BlackBerry works is this way. And same thing with Nokia too. Let's look at the 3-year one day. The candles are very, very small. So you're gonna say, of course, because you have a 3-year chart, so it's like zoomed out. But even if I zoom in, right, you notice that you don't have like large green candles. You'll have like one spike and then it just goes out. The candles themselves are very tiny and it moves slowly, right? Maybe because it's kind of like Siri. Maybe it might have like so many billions of shares. I didn't look at the outstanding shares. Just try to stick with it for a longer term. And if you see a large spike, that's when you sell. Usually with this stock, whenever you have some gap ups, it doesn't really last that long. Besides this week was just ridiculous. You see, like this time frame was just unbelievable, once of a lifetime, and it probably will never come back like that. You will probably never see something like this. Not for this stock, but the whole market, any kind of stock. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, it went from $6 to 28. 6 times 4 is 24. That's almost 4.5%. 400%, I'm sorry. 400% in 9 days. So I mean, I wouldn't look for something like that, but I'd probably have $10 range for the shorter term. The longer term, like maybe like a couple of years, $20. Next up is CLOV. So let's take a look at CLOV. Had some interesting week today. This week, not today, sorry. Had an interesting week this week. And it looks like the bottom might be in. Just looking at this action here, the bottom may have been the $7 range. Now, of course, the $6.31 was a quick drop and it picked up. I think the trend is done. The downtrend is pretty much done. It's been done since this breakout. Now it's on the opposite side. Now it's on an upper trend. I would even go like this because I don't know how I want to draw the upper trend, but I think this would be better. Yeah. So there you go. You have your upper trend. So I think the next move up, if we can hold 991, that's going to be your first resistance. And the cloud, you see how the cloud bottom is, that's what I've been trying to show for the previous charts here. Do you see how this cloud bottom, even though it looks like it broke in, comes back, breaks in, comes back, breaks in, comes back, breaks in, comes back. This is for a couple days. This tells me that, first of all, the 50-day moving average is a strong resistance. The 9-day is going to be a support here. But I believe that give it a couple days, and once it finally breaks in, it's going to try to hit 991 again. That should be your first goal. Now, from this trend right here, it looks like it could very well, this 100-day moving average, it could hit $11. I'm not giving you a time frame. I'm going to have to watch the action inside the cloud, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, guys. A lot of people look at the market as 5 days as being super long, and they're impatient. Oh, you were patient enough, you could have bought the stock at $6.31 instead of trying to chase it up at $16, $17. SPACs were huge balloon. It was a hype. They basically loaded up on people and left. I don't want to talk about the names here, but you know some of the names that basically robbed people. But here you go. You get 631. $7 was a gift. I don't know. You look at the volume here. It's humongous. I don't know the company's current situation about suitcases or lawsuits or any other the bearish reports. I didn't really read all of it, but I'm just looking at the chart, and I feel like it has been it broke the downtrend. Now it's trying to go back up. 991 is the real resistance here. The cloud is going to be your like tug of war. You're going to go in, come back out, go in, come back out. Finally, that final push is going to go towards 991. Okay, and if it breaks above that, a huge spike is going to take you to $11. Next up is Coin, and this is an interesting name because I knew this was going to happen in a way that as soon as Coin was going to have its IPO, I don't know if it was a direct offering or an IPO, but I knew that the Bitcoin or the coin sector, the coin market was going to go down. It was so called for. It was just there in your face. And it happened to be that way. And on the 30-minute, look at the cloud here. The reason why I'm doing 30 minutes is because it's a recent IPO, and I'm not looking at the valuation, just looking at technicals here, right? If I were to do valuations and financials for 30 companies in a single video, that's going to take like 50 hours. I mean, like I can't do that. So we're just, doing the technical work here. Cloud resistance, cloud resistance, cloud resistance, cloud resistance, right? 277. Now you're gonna say Kathy bought a lot. You're not Kathy Woods. You're not managing a fund, guys. These guys, the fund, the institutions will get 8 times the leverage. They get money getting pumped in through pension funds and so forth, like, people putting in their money into these funds. You have your paycheck, they have hundreds of thousands of people's paychecks, plus the leverage of 8 to 10 times. So Kathy can buy it at 360 and don't don't care about it for another year. You and I are a different story because we're feeding mouths. We have family, we have other things to worry about. Institutions, I mean, they have money getting pumped in. They have credits, they have, huge margin balances that they can play around with. They can direct the market. So it's, you can't compare Kathy with yourself. Just because she bought it doesn't mean it's the right time to buy with her. Um, I mean, I'm not going to argue that she's not smart, but she is smart, but it's just that you can't compare yourself with these guys. Having said that, 1, 2, 3, I would get in. The resistance is going to be 295. I would probably get in around if it breaks 295, and it would be a quick trade. But the 30-minute cloud here is going to be your cloud bottom, is your current resistance. I wouldn't try to challenge it. Don't try to beat the market. Go with the market. Right now, remember what I said, the funds were fighting with each other? I think that's what's happening with Kathy right now, is that somebody's targeting her, or maybe she just has bad timing. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't have bought this much of coin. I mean, if I was her, I wouldn't have gotten in on a recent IPO like this, given the fact that Bitcoin or just coin market in general is so high right now. Now you're going to say, what are you comparing it against? You can't compare coins against anything because literally its intrinsic value is zero, has no value, has absolutely no value. It's like, if the world runs out of electricity, you're done. What are you going to pay? How are you going to pay, right? To cut your internet, how are you going to pay? So, I mean, it's like a new tech thing. Maybe I'm an old-fashioned guy. I'm not a gold guy either. Gold is okay. I mean, like gold always will have its value, but I just don't get the idea of valuating Bitcoin. You have your doggy coin or Dogecoin, whatever you want to call it, going from, you know, basically 0 cents to 40 cents, and all of a sudden its valuation is much higher than like legitimate corporations, companies. So I don't know how Coin, the company, looking at this in not technical perspectives, but in just general, the business logic, how this works, um, is going to be doing in the longer run. If Bitcoin, again, I'm going to have a bunch of arguments about it that, Bitcoin will never end, blah, blah, blah. You never know, right? We can't predict the future. It's dependent on Bitcoin. If they were to introduce more coin types, if they were to introduce maybe better, I like their interface, but if they were to introduce a maybe easier way like Robinhood, like, upgrade their app, include more coins, and for God's sake, just lower their, fees so high. People are going to Binance US in US markets, and I mean, I don't know if Coinbase is really in, multinational company or just in America, but I believe Binance is a better business at this point because, they have a broader customer range and better fees, much lower fees, and they have so much more coins. And I know Coinbase doesn't work like Binance, but I believe Binance business model is much better. So having said that, evaluating the company in the long term, I wouldn't get in yet. I need to see what the company would do. Like I said, we upgrade their app, do it better, um, lower their fees, introduce more coins, maybe go, try to do it. I don't know how the fees and I don't know how the legality of things work, but try to go to Europe, expand the market. Then I'd say, okay, the valuation might make sense here. Technically speaking, huge resistance at 295. If the chart goes here and it gets like a couple bounces on top of the cloud, I'd go in and I'd probably swing trade it around like 320s, get in at 295, sell it at 320. But other than that, long term, I have a lot of questions in my head. Bad timing for the IPO, which I believe. Next up is Chevron. So we're going to speed up things here because we have a lot of tickers to cover today. So Chevron, this is 30 minutes. Obviously, you can see a trend here. It looks like it wants to retry 105 in the 30 minutes, but I don't like 30 minute. I always do, hour charts here. Looking at the hour, you see how things change all of a sudden. Let me do one thing. Okay. I like the chart actually. It's bullish. You could do it two ways. You can go ahead and do this. I don't know why I didn't do this extension, but yeah, this one would be better. I'm going to delete the older extension for the shorter term side of things. And we're going to do another extension from basically here. Yeah. So if you're in Chevron, of course, you're, holding your money for the long term. This is not a stock that I would trade. This is a stock that I would own. Now you're going to say, why would you own a company that has, producing oil and its business is oil and gas? Now, again, this electric vehicle thing to me is an hype and they're overvalued right now. We're going to keep on using oil and gas. I mean, you're not going to build an electric airplane. You're not going to build an electric cargo ship. Um, the business might, the demand might die a little bit, but I think that the electric thing is a little hype. I mean, when you're producing batteries, how environmental friendly is it? When you're charging your car from an electric source of power, how eco-friendly is it? Now, yeah, the car is not producing much of emission. I understand that there is no emission, but the issue is how are you producing the electricity? So that's another issue. It's not like we're, getting it from a clean energy source. It's all a dilemma. I think it's a hype. I think this was just all political. The whole Tesla move was an agenda for, I think, higher ups to change the agenda to, pollution and clean energy, and that was just a good story for people. Um, I mean, I'm not getting paid by the oil companies, but I think they do have a value at this point. Um, I believe in the shorter term, this cloud top. Remember I said in the 30-minute chart, it looks like it wants to go to 1005. That's where it is. This should be your short-term target. The long-term target should be the 114 to 117 range. That's where I would be heading towards. That's where I think the stock is heading towards. Doing an auto zoom. Yeah, the chart is good. The chart is bullish. You can draw a clear, trend line here as well. Yeah, it could go towards even 120. So I'd wait on this. It's a good opportunity. This was a good opportunity. I mean, but it didn't move as much as tech did, right? It only just doubled, maybe less than double. But it has a good dividend. The business is going to thrive soon. And I think it's going to go towards 117, 120 area. For the shorter term side, 102.50 is going to be a resistance, and the target should be 105. Next up is EBON. What is EBON? eBank International Holdings. Um, there's a clear support in this level. Okay, so there you go. I don't know what the company does. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to because I've never heard of this name before. We can, instead of an extension, I'm going to draw a retracement. That should be your target, should be 832 to 935 in the long run. And you have to have a tight stop if and if 388 holds. I don't know the company a lot, so I can't really say anything. Let's look at its 3-year chart on the weekly. It's not even it's a new stock, I guess, or maybe it merged. Not sure. Not sure if this was a recent IPO, but the 380s, 385s are your floor. It looks like it wants to curl up. The resistance is going to be your 9-day, which is 444. So I know that $8 range is a long-term target, but looking at the shorter term, you have the 9-day moving average here at 442. So that's where I would aim. Okay, 442 is where I would aim. That's going to be your resistance. If you want to have an extension, I can draw an extension from this low. Not sure why I'm having a click issue here. There you go. To this high and to this low. And you're looking at 789 to 882. So with just basically the cloud top right here, 882. But again, I can't give you a time estimate because I don't know what the company does. Seems like there's good buying volumes are coming up here, so that's good. Earnings are soon, but the 388 floor has to hold and you have to have tight stops on this play. Next up is FUBO. Let's take a look at FUBO. It looks like FUBO is having a resistance on the 20-day moving average. Stochastics bullish, RSI bullish, MACD looks like it's, slowly recovering. A huge volume day above 100 million. I think this stock is due for a reversal and it's going to have a huge reversal. You're going to say, well, how do you see the 50s crossing down the 100? Of course, that's bearish. Okay. But this price action, if it breaks above, you see how these red lines have played out? Okay. It wasn't perfect, but it held, went up. Now this 2031 is going to be support. The 50-day here, or the 20-day, I'm sorry, is your resistance. And we haven't touched the 20-day since the earnings day, 20-day moving average. If we break above, your next resistance is going to be $23. But look at this. You can go up all the way to 50-day moving average. That's nearly $30. And it makes sense because there you go. There's a price action here. Okay. The price action here. So 26, 30. These are all there's lots of resistance levels that we can talk about. But one thing is that it broke out of this long, descending wedge. Now it's having trouble breaking above the 20. But as soon as it clears that, and I think this is no longer valid. Let me delete this. Once it clears the 20-day moving average, I think it's going to head towards $29. This is a huge downfall. And looking at the previous high is like 60 something. I think this is a good opportunity. It was a good opportunity at $17. Remember, I was really pissed off like last 2 videos ago about so-called gurus, whatever they are, claiming they're claiming they're playing with millions of dollars. Said that, I bought in at 23 and people are like, "Oh, let me get in because you got in." Like, I told that day that that's where they should have sold. Even though I'm long FUBO, that spike I knew it was going to get sold. And it did. So it's people who bought it at 23, they went down to 17, 1750s, right? It's a huge loss there. And they're still negative. So be mindful when you get in and follow these people because they tell you they bought in. They don't tell you how much they bought in. They might have a portfolio of $1 million. They could have bought $10,000 worth. So we don't know, right? Don't jump in. However, 23 is first resistance. 26.50 is your next resistance. And then $29. Okay. Next up is GNPX. GNPX. Did I do this before? Yeah. We drew a trend line. I probably mentioned about the head and shoulders and it broke the neckline. I probably had mentioned watch out for the neckline, and I probably said enough. I mean, like, I can't remember, but looking at this, I probably said enough to warn you guys. And whoever requested it, hope listened to me because it's a clear head and shoulder. And as you can see, this red line now, it's sticking in there, trying to protect this price right here. Once, twice, 9-day Moving average is your resistance. I'm not, I mean, I'm not a big fan of this chart. If you can break above 4, you're looking at 460, but would I risk it? I think they're better buying opportunities. That's what I would think. I hate to be negative because when people, request stocks from me, they want to hear good things, but I don't want to tell them stories, right? I don't want to I don't want to give them false hopes. So I only say what I see, and I don't like say what I believe. I only say what I see. I saw this, and I mentioned about these levels, and it broke down. It's not a good chart. Now, it would have been a good chart if it bounced from here and continued, but it's a broken chart. Okay. So next up is Humble actually. HMBL. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at it. I've been doing this chart for some time, and I've drew this, right? Whenever I draw something and I give out these support lines, and when I say something is risky, believe me it is, because if you don't follow it up and you don't put your stop losses at 287, bam, you're drilled to $1.06. And that's when people ask me these types of charts. I hate, I mean, so, I want to say it's bearish, but I hate, again, breaking people's dreams and maybe they invested, but, you got to tell the truth. Um, when, when the stock goes up from 7 cents to $7.72, you got to have some, but the good thing is that the sell-off here, at least from here, wasn't a good volume, but then the previous sell-offs, I don't know what it was, it does have some volume. At this point, this is a broken chart. I think it could even very well head down and revisit $1 again. It's a broken chart. Would I buy it? I wouldn't even touch it. See, I'm not kind of a trader to, you know, expect an impossible and just try to hit the lottery. I find a good stock that I believe in its tech. I believe that it might do good in the future. And I go in slowly and I go for longer term investment. Now, if this is your longer term investment, I don't know the business as well, but the chart is broken and you might be too late, even from people who bought it at 7 cents. 165 is an unbelievable return here. Um, that's nearly, 15 bagger. I don't know how much. Like, it's too much. So at this point, the chart is broken. I don't see anything out of it, honestly. And when I did this chart, when I drew this wedge, and I said it could possibly go to 575, but that would be the most, highest conviction. But again, if you lose this trend line, you're done. So in here, this is a broken chart. I don't care if it goes back to 225 and you're going to be like, how do you not care? That's like more than 50%. It's just that it's risky. I'd rather play Apple options than these types of stocks. That's the only thing. Like today's 130 Apple calls for the day, like if you had bought it yesterday, it made over 120% at one point today. So if you want to risk your money that way, I do it that way. So that's, I mean, I'm sorry I'm negative, but the chart is pretty much broken down. Next up is LARK. LARK Bancorp. Now the Bancorps are pretty solid. I don't really believe in their technicals as much. It's like you buy it and you just, collect dividends. I don't know if this has a dividend or not, but yeah, it's a pretty clear chart here. And I did a good job drawing it, just, seeing the result of it. We have the top, it went above a little bit, but we had the supports perfectly. Um, I think the resistance is 255 on this. If you can clear an establishment and stay above that, you're looking at $27. Don't expect a huge price range on this one, but here's your breakout. You see what I mean by 25.55 right here? Okay. And I'm not going to draw another line, but 25 is your support. Okay. Could be a couple cents off and so forth. But the chart is good. I mean, the chart is good. It's not as bearish at this point, but have a tight stop around 25. And if it breaks above 255, you're going towards 26.45 to $27. LOTZ is next. Again, another beaten down stock, 20-day resistance. Now, again, the business might be good. I have to check and research on this one, but I think it's a pretty decent buy at these levels, even at $6, $7. It should go back up to 864. That's my target. Worst case scenario, it could be a little lower around 835, but that would be my target. It closed above the 20, so it looks a little bullish. I'll go ahead and draw you some resistance levels so you guys can follow up. Let's make this chart a little bigger so it's easier to see, easier on the eye if you're on the small screen. So this is going to be a clear resistance right here. Okay. And that's about like a little over $8. And then you're looking at the 50-day moving average. Okay. So you're looking at 811 to 833. Those are the ranges that would be my target. I don't know how the earnings are going to be. I don't know like the financials of the company. Pretty much a beaten down name, right? So you can't lose much from here. Now you're going to say, how come you didn't speak so much about these other stocks that you reviewed? They're beaten down as well. The thing is, this is an actual business. Like at least we can, grab something out of it. I know it's business. If you do, if you search, they have a website, they have a legitimate business. We know we can, like, when I buy a company, I want to actually see it, I want to see what it does. Like you buy Apple, you know the product, you go to the store, you know what it is, you know what it does, right? So here you go, car lots. You're gonna say, well, just because this has a website, every company has a web. Maybe you could go and visit their stores, right? Not that I've been in one, but at least like if you're in Virginia, Richmond, um, Richmond area, you can go ahead and visit, or Chicago, and see what they do, what they don't, how their business is, and do your investment. But whereas other companies, oh, I'm waiting for the drug. Oh, I'm waiting for this. Like you don't even know where the headquarters are. You don't even like at least go visit, like test the product out. Listen to consumer reports or something like that. So this is a business that at least you can do something like that. And I believe that when things go in summer, when things go a lot better with the small caps, it's going to go back to $10. That's what my feeling is. Not technical, but that's what my feeling is. Next up is MVIS. So microvision, the other day I was just imagining, what if you had $20,000, bought it at 15 cents? I mean, you really had to have some guts to keep it all the way to 24 from 15 cents. You could have been a multimillionaire. It's like what? If you bought it around like, if you bought it with $20,000, that would be nearly $2.5 million at 24. Turning your 20,000 to $22.5 million is pretty amazing. Now, when you buy the stock, imagine that, right? At this point, buying it at 18, I don't know, but this would be a clear, and you can see today's candle too, it had a rejection. This is going to be your clear resistance. Okay. It's dead clear. And then this is your support. It's dead clear. There's nothing, your support is at 1023, your resist, and these are like deep levels, right? 1023 is your last resort. And then $19 range is like 1910, 1920. That's where your resistance is. So looking at MACD bullish, stochastics bullish, RSI super bullish, but then it went from $10 to $19 in 1 to 3 days. How can I recommend a stock that went from, I mean, if I were to buy this, how would I buy it? I mean, I just don't see the point. From $10 to $20, you gotta have the stock some rest. And look what happened last time. That was from $11 to $20 or $19.20. Melt down slowly. I would say a pretty good buying price would be 12 range. If you want to buy it from here, now if you had it and you want to keep it, that's fine. But if you bought it at $10, I mean, makes perfect sense to sell it at 20 and then have it rest a little. Not against the stock, but it's just like, you get some news about, LiDAR technology and things go up and then things go down. If you believe in the company for longer term doesn't require any technical knowledge or any technical hearing. If you're in here for the shorter term or midterm, I would buy the stock around either its 20-day or 9-day moving average, which would be the range of 13.50s to $12. Not saying it's going to get there. I'm just saying you missed the boat. If you had it, that's 100% in 3 days. Sell it and rest on it. A lot of people that started trading in 2020 learned their lesson. You make 100% in 3 days, that's unbelievable. Institutions make that in 10 years. So just put that in your mind and act reasonable. Nikola. So I think I reviewed Nikola a couple times. I honestly would not judge people who buy this stock. However, when this goes up, it goes up. You see this right here, $13 to $30. Now it looks like it regained the 9-day and it's having a 20-day resistance. I'm going to zoom in for you guys to see it. And it's a beaten down name. I would say that it could go up to 1350s, at least at this point. Because sometimes it doesn't matter what the company is, when the sector goes up, it goes up. The stock goes up with it. I think the resistance is going to be 1354. Now, my most bullish case would be 15 bucks. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back down to $10. This is a stock that I won't do price targets on. I won't do recommendations on. My uncle, which I'm surprised because he's really good technically, but he was just so pumped. He bought Nikola at $90 because he thought that it was a Tesla truck killer or Tesla, Tesla truck killer. I was like, what are you thinking? Sell it. He sold it. $90 to $9. So the reason this was all the way to $93 is because of how Neo Tesla and other, electric cars moved. It moved with it. Look at, Helion went to $53. It was like $7.50 the other day. So you see the point. Doesn't matter sometimes what the company does. It moves with the sector. And looking at the RSI and stochastics, it's ready. Looking at this volume, buy of volume, maybe a possible short squeeze, it's ready. If it goes over 13, it'll be bullish. You just have to watch the 1380 level. You see this candle here. Let me go ahead and change it here. You see this candle here? You see these candles here? That's where it's heading. If it breaks above, it could touch the cloud. It could even go towards right here, like how it touched the cloud top here. Touched the cloud top here. It was a fake breakout. Fake breakout. So you can see like maybe 20s even possible, looking at looking at the action from here. So let me take a picture here. This stock makes me nervous. I wouldn't short it. I wouldn't be long on it. It's just some stocks out there I won't mess with. This is one that here, break above the cloud, fake breakout, bam. Okay, here again we're talking about, this is the $15 range where the 50 moving day average is. And then these are the other bottoms here, right? So this bottom right here, break above the cloud, fake breakout, bam, okay, double bottom, and then it tested the 9-day and went down. And then now, so it's gonna head towards here. That's where the bottom is right here. It's gonna head towards $13 range. At most, it could retest this level, which is the top here, and which is the top here. So looking at $15, $16 range. Now, just because I said it's going to have a resistance at 13 and 15, it could revisit this scenario. It could revisit this scenario. It could revisit this scenario and then just crash back down. However, it doesn't make this company a legitimate company. Okay. So the chart reading, the technicals don't mean this company is Tesla. Don't judge this company as Tesla. I would trade it. I would not own it. Okay. So that's my opinion. Next up is NNDM. Of course, you know, we had ups and downs with NNDM, and remember what I was selling people at 17. Oh, I looked at the 5-year weekly chart and I said, yes, we broke above. We can even go towards $52. The issue is this. Any kind of market correction will take it towards take it towards the bottom of the cloud near $4, $5 range. I was just saying it like not even zooming in. I was just saying like, look how it broke above. It's a huge cloud resistance, broke out. It's super bullish. Usually it will have some kind of retest, and it's going to move up. And I said, be ready for it. And it came back. It came way sooner than I thought it would. I don't judge the couple day action here. I'm not bullish until it's above 770. Again, you see this you see this bearish crossover. The most bullish move would be 966, but 770 is your super resistance here. I wouldn't challenge it. I would let the market do its thing until I see a clear bottom formation. Now you can say, well, can't you say this is a double bottom up here, and down here? Yeah. It could be, and that's why I was saying the super bullish scenario would be 966 right here, right? So it ended up 61.8, ended up being here, 915 on the 50% retracement. Now remember, again, what did I say a few minutes ago? Doesn't matter what kind of excuse you give me and say, okay, this is double bottom. I said most super bullish scenario would be 966. That's where it's heading. If it breaks 770. However, I can't say it yet until I see a break above the 20 and until I see a break above 770. For now, I would just watch. Okay? I would just watch. If it breaks downwards, I can give you another price level, which would be right around here. $6. Okay? That would be the next breakdown. Break up, it would be 966. Okay? So next up is PENN. The other day I was watching that, you know, my friend invited me over. The YouTuber thought that, you know, the whatever, the what's that guy's name? Sean something from UFC. I forgot his name. Whatever. They're just clowns. I think it was fixed. Just guy got knocked out in one punch. This guy, you know, if you fight in UFC professionally, I don't think you could get. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad of a shape you're in. It's not going to be that much, you know. However, you know, DraftKings was sponsoring everything. UFC, like all these fights. So then you have PENN, right? Comparing the two, Kathy's after DraftKings. I don't know how PENN, like I've never seen their app. I never gamble, so I never gambled in my life. Maybe you could say stock market is a gamble, yeah. But I don't know how their app functionality is. I don't know how their business models work. Are they literally like, you know, in a building, or is just more electronically how their business is running? Are they like classic, you know, business, or are they new tech business? I have to like research it, but this right here is bullish. Now, again, it's underneath the cloud. It's underneath all the moving day averages. How am I bullish on it? It's this squeeze out. And I'm not saying it's a long-term bullish. It did reach, by the way, almost toward the top of our target. But where it's heading is 108. Your first level of resistance, just remember these prices: 940, 94.43, 97, and 108. I believe it might hit towards 108. The earnings might push it. That's why I said I don't know what the company is doing. Just watching, and tomorrow I'll be watching the Masvidal and Usman fight, and see how commercials go up. And like, I've never heard of Penn's you know in the commercials or fighting business or sports business. Maybe they're not advertising as much because they're more established. I don't know, but we'll see. But the earnings will declare which way this goes. Either it can sink towards 82 and then go towards 95, 97 towards the earnings, or it could run towards 97 and then go to 108 after earnings. So let me draw you a possible picture here so you can see my scenarios. First scenario, it's going to run up like this towards earnings and go up like that. The second scenario, it's going to run down and then go up. Okay. So either way, you can do your own due diligence about the company and their business and how they compete against DraftKings. And DraftKings is everywhere, but I don't know how many states they're allowed to do their business in versus PENN. So you do all of those researches and due diligence for the longer term. There's a huge volume here, but then again, the stock, and I can see like maybe a selling here a little bit, this candle right here, but I don't see like a huge run up yet. But this will be my target and these would be my resistance. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at pins next. By the way, I try to do everything alphabetical after Apple. So the order of your stock would be alphabetical, not that I favor anybody. Again, resistance at 161.8, resistance around that price again. The earnings, I don't know if it was earnings. Which stock was it? I don't know what this fall was for. Is this wrong? I thought it had earnings and that's why it fell down. But apparently earnings, it seems like here is 427. Last couple earnings, we had huge run-ups with this stock, as you can see. If that's the case, I think it could go to $81. If not, the support is going to be your $70 range, 70 and 69. It looked bullish looking at this W and flag. However, I don't know what this news was about, and it killed the whole entire bullish run. As I mentioned it throughout the video, right? So look at this. You have this W and a flag that's super bullish, but when I said that in Apple 2, you got to watch this. It breaks the flag down, you got to get out. And it broke down, got a support from the expected price range right here. It could revisit and slowly get back up, or in the earnings, it could just directly go like this. So we don't know. I don't know anything with earnings. Technicals might not work. Stochastic's not ready. MACD is bearish. So we'll see what goes on with the stock. But looking at, Snapchat today, did have a pretty good earnings. So let's see how pins do. Next up is POLA, P-O-L-A, Polar Power. I think the chart looks a little, and remember again, when I draw these, if it breaks down, you get out. Okay, so let's look at this. I think the bottom, we look at this candle right here. That's like your bottom. Okay, break down there, it's kind of scary. However, the bottom is established. I think now it's on a recovery mode. I don't know if this is a solar company, Polar Power. I mean, never heard of it before. Obviously, I charted it, but let's take a look. Polar Power. Hybrid energy, military, rapid charging. I guess they just throw themselves in every clean energy sector. So you get your hybrid energy with the solar, you get your charging stations and so forth. I'd have to look at the company's financials and the size of the company to really get a good idea of it. But the chart is actually interesting. I believe that the $12.71 is in the range. If it breaks and it goes in the cloud, it's going to be a huge run. But before that, I can't really speak of anything in this company. Your target would be right here at $20 range, but it's in the bearish territory. The stochastics reversed, MACD is squeezing out, RSI is ready. And then you look at, First Solar, you're gonna have to look at the bigger companies in the business, right? SunPower, First Solar, and they're pretty much about the same situation. You get your Sol, again, the same chart. You get First Solar, again, almost the same. First Solar looks more bullish and breakout position at this point than any other solar. You get your TAN, which is the ETF of all the solars. Again, the chart looks very similar, like a copycat, right? And then you get your Sol, Renasola. The chart looks pretty much the same thing. So it's not about what the company does, it's what the sector does. Okay. So going back to POLA, I don't care if the company doesn't even sell a single solar panel. The chart is pretty much the same thing with the sector. Now, if you want to play this name, you got to follow others bigger guys, okay? So you got to look at TAN with the ETF and how it does. And looking at First Solar, the chart looks pretty bullish. I believe this could run towards $13 and eventually towards 19. But I I believe the solar business, the solar stocks will go higher towards summer. It's gonna have its thing. It's gonna, try to break in the cloud and so forth. But when you see the exact tops, it would be summer. Okay. Next up is RVLV, Revolve Group. Chart is bullish. As soon as I see the chart, I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Top of the cloud, it's above all the moving averages. It broke the 9-day moving average. It is heading towards the 61.8, which is $53. Your first level of resistance is going to be 51.67 and then 53. My ultimate target would be $66. $66 is doable for this one. You got to, of course, watch out for the supports. Watch for the support line and watch for, I think it could go something like this. So it could hit the top of the channel, bottom of the channel, and so forth. Just take a look at it. I think it's a good stock, beautiful chart. It's consistent. It's protective. I love the protection at this cloud top right here. Cloud top, and I believe it's a good stock. I don't know what the company does. Maybe it's like a very well-known business and I might not know it, but the chart is bullish, the chart is protective, the chart is solid, and it looks like it wants to run up towards 53 and maybe $55 previous high. Next up is Snap. I believe it had good earnings and the chart looks bullish. Yeah, sorry about that. It was the Maryland Department of Health calling for the vaccination appointment. So I already had corona. I don't know if I need to get vaccinated again, but anyhow, let's go back to our topic. The chart looks good. The earnings, I guess it had a good day and then 7% looks good. I don't know why it has a red candle today. Maybe it like started at $63 and then went down to 57 and then closed around 61.3. So that was a really shaky day. However, it's an inverse head and shoulder. It's a picture. It's a it's a definition right here. It's a definition of an inverse head and shoulder. I mean, there's nothing that I could if somebody was to tell me what does a head and shoulder look like, I would say it looks like this. And you can see why it's not as soon as it breaks above this, and it's gonna have a bullish run. So give or take, you need to close about 64.58. Once you close above that, it's gonna go towards $93. And this is a good, any way you look at this chart, it looks bullish. And let me show you one more thing. Okay. Worst thing, you can come down here, cup and handle, and move out. Okay. Looks bullish. 93 would be my goal for long term. Short term resistance is going to be 64.58. Next up is space. Now, I guess the shareholders are pretty much frustrated with Chamath and Kathy selling out. I guess the CEO sold out, or I don't know, the owner of the company. I don't know what the news were, but I don't know when the heck I drew this line, but oh boy, what a bounce. Okay, what a bounce. Now the earnings are coming up. The last earnings, I don't know if this is like a earnings stocks anyways. Like this company is not expected to deliver earnings till it actually goes, has its space travel. Of course you're gonna expect the company to lose money. The company is not expected to make any profits. The bullish run, I guess the first resistance will be 9-day moving average 23.30. Your next resistance is 25.61. I believe I wouldn't touch this. It could go anyway. It's like a coin flip at this point. If you lose the support of this red line around 2040, it can go as low as $17. Okay. If you break above the 9-day moving average, above 23, it's going to head up towards 26.77. However, with the recent news, everybody getting out, jumping out of the train, I don't know where the stock is going to find its push, because um, I don't think the consumers, I mean, I'm sorry, I said consumers. I don't think you and I, the public, is going to push this. It's going to be institutions. Now, if the institutions are running out, um, you know, the space ETF that Kathy opened up, ARKK, I don't know how much space it has anymore. Um, I don't know. Like, I don't know how this company is going to get, or the stock is going to get pushed higher. Um, we'll see. The retailers are busted at this point. I mean, they really dumped it on you. And it reached, and I was tweeting. I could pull out my tweets, and I said, that's the target. Sell it. And when I said sell it, people are saying buying it. $60. We had our target. We had our target from 17 to 35. Then we had I called it right here. I said, don't buy it. It's a fake breakout. Let it go and touch the cloud. And then it ran. It had its huge run with the whole market going nuts. And then now moved down with the market. At this point, it's bearish. I wouldn't touch it until I see the chart getting us. And even this is a head and shoulder right here. Now it broke the neckline around $23. It could have, and it still did, and it didn't regain it back. It's anybody's game, and I don't believe the stock has any bullish action in it. Um, but it's a good thing that it held on the 2040 level. If it breaks down, it's going to go to 17. Next up is Splunk. Good company, but the thing is, how much profit is it making? How is the business doing? I've used the product. The chart is not bullish. When will the chart be bullish? It's a clear trend here. The chart will be bullish as long as this trend is your friend, right? That's the saying. As long as this trend is breaking above, then you're good to go. You see, it's a clear trend. The ups and the downs. Now my buying point would be around 119, selling point would be at 138. Would I trade this name? Would I buy this name? It's a boring stock to me. Look at the action here, and you're gonna say, how is it boring? You buy the bottom, you sell the high. It's a bearish move. It you know, until, you know, if you ask me where it could go, where the bottom is, it could be $100. So since the bottom is a lot lower, I would only trade this name on this trend right here. Okay. It is a, you know, descending wedge, which is a bullish pattern, but it doesn't give me any indication of breaking out. Unless Microsoft goes ahead and buys this thing, I don't know. I don't think this is a very clear bullish trend at all. It's a bearish trend right now. I mean, the descending wedge is a bullish trend, but how long has a descending wedge is going to be? It's from last October. It's been 7 months almost. So it's a long way of a descending wedge, and it could very well end up going $100 until I, you know, start, you know, putting some money in it. Next up is TLRY. Again, this stock doesn't move because its business is great. It moves with the market, with its market. So what kind of market? Of course, the marijuana business, right? A head and shoulder play here. It broke down. It looks like it wants to curl back up. I wouldn't touch it. Now you're gonna say, why are you so scared? Well, I'm not scared, but there's so many other charts. Now, the MACD looks like it's about to cross over. Stochastics is about to turn over. RSI is, you know, dealing with it. It's going to probably curl up, and it could go up towards $19 where the cloud bottom is. But when I see a chart like this, I am not in it. Look at this, the depth of this cloud. Okay. All the news are out, right? The people wanted, they screamed New York, New York, New York, and this was again, you know, all this, you know, GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, Nokia, whatever, like everything with the wheat stocks, you know, going like 100, 200%, 300% in like a couple days. Look at the sell volume. I think this is just basically a speculation play. Any marijuana play is a speculation play to me. Now, yeah, the MACD, stochastics, everything looks good. It might end up going towards, you know, $19, $20 range. That's fine. I can draw, you know, a trend here and say, you know, you break above this, it's good. Right here, okay. But the issue here is Biden is elected, so the news is out. New York with, you know, legalizing, it's done. So like, what is the new catalyst? This stock in general, it always looks for catalysts, and I don't know what the new catalyst is. I don't know if there ever will be one right now. It was a good play before the elections, but right now I don't know. Looking at 21, 55, 23, possible bullish move, but after that, it's anybody's game. I would just sell it at, you know, $19 if I had bought in at, you know, $15. It's a great business here. Other than that, you have the falling wedge. It looks okay, but I know how this stock moves. I know how, you know, wheat stocks go and work. You can even do this and say it broke out already, and I could agree with you, and that's why I'm saying it's going to go towards 21, 55, and $23. But it's a catalyst stock, and once news is out, you sell and you run away. Okay. Our last stock to cover is Workhorse. Again, this is something that I think Kathy, I don't know if she left, but I've drawn this. I remember doing Workhorse for the last couple of videos. I'm not sure if it's the same follower that has been requesting it or maybe a different follower, but the floor has been established a little. I think it can go run towards $14 or even $15. What do I mean by the floor? It's clear. We drew it and it's clear here. Okay, that's your floor. That's your floor. Okay. Now, what it could do is it could go run and challenge these highs, which is around $14, and where the cloud bottom is, right? Or it could even run and meet up towards the 50-day moving average. That would be 1722. However, I don't know what the news is with this stock, right? It lost the USPS contract or whatever. It crashed down. The catalyst, I don't know what it is. The whole, you know, the whole electric business with, you know, Helion, XL,
all these companies, GoEv, they're just killed. We can look at all of them, right? Look at Workhorse right now. We can look at Helion. They all have that little, push up. It's the same thing. It just gives you the hope, and then, you know, you look at Helion. The 20-day is going to be a huge resistance around $10. It's just melting down. Okay. Looking at Excel, again, same thing. That little push up. Okay. And then you look at, I don't know, GoEv, and it's a recent IPO, so it's again that little push up. Okay. It's not about Workhorse. It's not about GoEv. It's not about Excel. It's not about Helion. It's the sector. Okay. It's the same thing. You saw that little push up and the flag on Go. It's the same thing in Excel. It's the same thing in Helion. It's that little push and the flag. And then you look at Workhorse. It's probably the same thing. Well, not even in Workhorse, it's not the same thing. But the thing is, the whole dying off at the same business. It's not just only Workhorse. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe maybe trying to make you feel better. But I believe that your resistance is going to be 1520s, 1520, 1530. Longer term, I'm not going to make a statement. The chart has very critical support levels, as we had mentioned, and it held the 1250 and the $10. If it breaks 1250, I am out. Now you're going to say, well, you missed this. I don't care. I'm playing it safe because if it falls down to $10, that's huge money. If it breaks 10, goodbye. So you got to be very careful. You cannot be emotional, okay? And nobody asked me Palantir, but I'm going to do Palantir myself. So let's go ahead and do Palantir. All right, PLTR. See, again with Palantir, I had critical, I said it better not lose 2363, and it did, and it went to the critical support of 2120s. That's where you see it here, you see it here, right? 2150, 2250, right around here. Then last time it hit 2250, that run. Now, a lot of people are saying it might actually post its first positive earning. I don't look at this company as an earnings play. I look at this as a future play that you can hold for a couple years. Does it have a head and shoulder? Yes. Does it have a neckline? Did it break? No. You have to be very cautious. The red cloud, everything looks, challenging here. Your first resistance is going to be the current level, 2350, which it hasn't tried to break it. It couldn't break it. And then your second resistance is going to be 2456. Okay. Those are the two moving average levels. Again, my target might seem like it's impossible, but by July, the first week of July, 56.59. I don't know what it's going to be. And in order that to happen, first of all, it needs to get back in this channel. It needs to get above 30 anyway. So that's a lot of things to happen. So I'm not selling, I'm not selling the bridge here, right? Back in the days, what was it? It's actually real, right? You'd have stories that, poor people, buying bridge from these, scam artists. But I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to have you go and Palantir. The issue here is that the data, the big data, the data management, data science is going to be big. There are a lot of other players there like Snow and so forth. You can do your own due diligence and pick it. But I think pick one. But I think that in the near future, in 2 years, this is an easy $100 company. The stock price of $100. So I'm going to keep it for longer term. The 50-day crossing 100 is bearish. There's a big head and shoulder play bearish. However, it's a young company and I believe it has a future. So that's what I mean. Some of the stocks that I reviewed today, the chart might look bearish. I don't know, the story behind the company. As you can see, this volume, red, 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 all red, all selling, right? There's a reason behind it because the management had to sell stocks, the pre-arrangement, and it's having 1 billion shares, right? A lot of selling going on for tax purposes for the CEO, CFO, all the head level, the executive level management. Um, and even to looking at all these selling volumes here, the stock did pretty good job since the offering. So, and the stochastics, merging up, MACD finally, going green again, RSI is picking up. I believe the stock is going to head towards 2688. That's going to be its first resistance, as you can see in many instances here, all over the last 2 weeks of January. We can see the resistance in the first 2 weeks of March, and then again another resistance at $26 level last week, and then now I think we're heading towards that. If we can break above that, that would push us inside the cloud and it would be super bullish. And then your targets would be 31 after that. Okay. So having said that, it's been a long video. I'm really tired. I hope I pushed out a good content for you guys. If you like it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next week.